So do you have a roll call list that you can use to do roll call, please, as we come to order? I don't know why my volume is not working well. Hold on. Can you just hold on 1 second? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm still looking for the.
Okay, thank you. Hold on 1 second. Um, you don't have a list in front of you?
I do have a list.
Oh, you do. Go ahead, Kate, then.
So I'll take a roll call now. Stephanie Najjar.
Is present.
Richard Shruhan.
Here.
Peter Bakula.
Present.
Kate O'Brien.
Here.
Ann Quinn. Don McAllister.
Here.
Wes Merrill.
Here.
Stephanie Dallaire.
Present.
Morgan Yo.
Here.
Francis Bellucci. Absent. And Tom Pappas.
Present.
Thank you, Kate. Okay, I know we don't have minutes to look at, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we'll have to skip that. And Kate, was there any receipt of communication?
Nothing.
Okay. Okay. And may we have your report of the library director, please?
Director.
And actually, I'm going to interrupt before we start, but as you know, we hired Al, so she's been formally now part of the team. So I just want to again say congratulations and ask how things are going now that she's in her official position.
So far, so good. There's not a huge change, honestly. We've been doing this together for
Right.
exactly a year as of today. So it's good to have her getting paid correctly. And it's really good to have her officially in her office and official now. And it's not that the staff didn't see her as the official assistant director. I think it's just good for everyone to get this settled and to be able to move on with their lives.
Nice. Thank you.
She's doing a fabulous job, as we all expected she
yes. would. That's what I like to hear. Thank you. All right, so go ahead with your report. Thanks.
Sure. So the director's report to the Board of Library Trustees for October. Staffing. Staff continue to work 85% in building at all 3 locations. After Assistant Director Al Hayden's promotion mid-September, the position of Senior Children's Librarian was left vacant and will not be filled until that staff member is needed for the reopening of the Children's Department. Other staff, including Senior Teen Librarian Joanna Correa and Assistant Director Hayden, are helping to continue children's services in the meantime. President Najjar and I met with the mayor at the end of September, and after explaining our staffing needs and concerns, I am confident that we will be able to fill the hours that were left open by the resignations of the West Branch Children's Librarian and Archivist last month. We are finalizing job descriptions. Reopening. President Najjar and I met with the mayor and head of HR in late September. The mayor is aware of our current staffing limitations and that we are unfortunately unable to expand any services, including curbside pickup, to either branch in the foreseeable future without hiring more staff. Because no funds are able to be added to the library's budget now, we are therefore letting patrons know as they ask that branch services are suspended until more staff is hopefully able to be hired. We have calculated that curbside services could be added to the branches if we were able to hire 4 part-time staff for a total cost of approximately $38,000 for the remaining of FY21. The mayor and City Hall hope to make future decisions regarding opening to the public in early November, and we will confer with the mayor at that time to make a decision regarding opening the main library for appointment-based computer use. No computer services will be possible at the branches. Browsing will come after computer use, but it is not in our short-term plans, all depending on the state of the pandemic in our area and the safety of staff and patrons. And there's a rundown of the services that we are still offering daily: curbside pickup, curbside printing, curbside museum passes, curbside 3D printing, library takeout, and grab and go crafts for all ages, which began this past Saturday. And then coming soon, our expanded library of things, and then one-on-one Zoom browsing for parents and educators. Programming. The Library Foundation is sponsoring 2 exciting virtual programs this fall. Professor Theo Harris's popular lecture series on American dramas and a virtual concert from Anya Minogue, date TBD. Both programs will take place via Zoom. Staff are working on adding more virtual programming in addition to guided meditation, conversation circles, book groups, and writing clubs. But our staffing levels, current services, and staff absences due to illnesses and vacations and personal days are all making it difficult to plan, market, implement, and lead such programming. Additionally, without the programming funding from our yearly state aid grant, our ability to hire outside performers for programming has decreased to approximately 1/2 of what it has been in the past. The rest of our programming funds are generously provided by the Friends of the Library, but we anticipate decreased fundraising and therefore decreased funding due to the pandemic as well. Building and grounds. City elevator is coming this week to finish final repairs before our reinspection next week. Then nearly all emergency lights at the main library need to have their batteries changed, and we are currently determining if it's more cost effective to change the batteries or simply put in new units. Budget, I have included in the current budget for your review. Nothing is cause for any concern, but a reminder that, as I mentioned last month, most of the software IT line items are spent at the beginning of the fiscal year. Historically, we have received approximately $67,000 each year in state aid through the MBLC certification, which was spent on programming, supplemental books and materials, building projects, and the conservation of the Audubon prints. As of now, we have approximately $38,000 remaining, with no funds remaining that are earmarked for Audubon prints or programming due to our normal spending last year. I do not want to reallocate any funds because I anticipate needing more funds for books and materials due to our budget cuts, nearly 13% cut from that line item, and we need to have reserve funds available for building and utility issues. The annual $67,000 in state aid is incredibly important to our operations, and I am determined to make this remaining money last as long as possible. But the lack of funds this year will severely impact programming for the books and materials, and as was discussed last month, we are unable to conserve any Audubon prints. There is no city line item in our budget for programming or Audubon print restoration. I have included the current state of our state aid funds and the allocations of the current money remaining below. A reminder that these funds will continue to diminish and then disappear completely unless we remain certified or become certified again in the future. And you can see that the program supplement and Audubon funds have been totally spent. $0 left. There's a little bit of money left for books, but I anticipate our book budget was cut by 13% this year, and we've had to put more money into online databases because we're all virtual right now. And once we lose certification, as soon as patrons are
I can't, someone has their TV on in the background. I can't hear you. Does someone have something going on in the background?
I may have a radio going in the kitchen.
Yeah, I can't, I'm sorry. It's coming through loud and I can't hear Kate very well. Sorry. Sorry. I'm trying to listen to you and I can't.
Do they have the Patriots on? You could leave it on.
Yeah, I know. Of all things, I know tonight.
Is that better?
Yeah, thank you, Anne. It was coming through on my end loud and I was conflicting with the other volume. Thank you.
So the book money, we have about $12,000 left in that. That money is going to be spent very quickly because as soon as we lose certification, and we have our patrons can no longer get books from other libraries. As soon as somebody requests something that we don't own, we basically need to purchase it for them. So this money, this remaining $38,000 is going to be spent very quickly, unfortunately. I don't anticipate it lasting more than a year at maximum based on how we spend it and what we need it for. So, some good news though is that during our meeting with the mayor in late September, he made it clear that he does not want the library to become decertified this spring. He inquired as to the funds that would be needed to get us within the MBLC waiver safety zone, less than 5% greater than the city's total cuts, which is approximately $167,000. He stated he hopes that at the end of this year or beginning of 2021, the city has a more stable financial state and that the funds may be available to add to our budget line, helping us to achieve the waiver status with the MBLC. President Najjar and I are hopeful that we may still be able to get a waiver from the MBLC, but this won't be decided upon or made final until months from now. And then I included in the email today the following forms that I and the city need to submit in order to apply for the certification waiver. And I'm beginning the work on these this week. And those are the basic original petition for a waiver that I send in with my normal yearly financial reporting that's due in a couple weeks. And then by 11/6, I need to have the city auditor or city head of finances fill out a waiver budget worksheet, which you can see if you have the document, basically asks for the cuts and dollar amounts allocated to the whole city to different departments and stuff like that. And then also by 11/6, we have to send that, which is filled out from the city, our actual budget from the city that's on the city website, and then a letter from Stephanie and myself, and a letter from a municipal figure, so I guess the mayor, about the budget process, and why the library was cut as it was. And then assuming that the waiver does not get approved, which at this point it will not, in February, I will then have to submit a request for hearing document, which says, like, give us one last chance to prove why we do deserve a waiver. And then the final vote is April 1st. And then the Audubons, before he left, former archivist Eric Bauer found many documents pertaining to the city and library's legal responsibilities towards the Audubon prints. Most of the documents from 1989 pertain to the manner in which the Peabody Essex Museum was directed to maintain and then transfer the prints back to the library, with little being said about who is actually responsible for the future conservation of the prints. I've reached out to the city solicitor for help in translating these documents, and in the hopes that we can determine who is in fact legally responsible for their upkeep and in what time frame or other limitations. I've also included those documents for your perusal. And you are welcome. I know that Anne has already received these from Eric, and you're also welcome to read them and see if you can translate anything, because I cannot. So that's the end of my pretty short report for this month. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions for Director Merrill? Wes, I'm looking at you.
No, I'm glad to see the no additional problems with the elevator, and hopefully the inspection goes well.
Jim Hafey, the head of facilities, has been in contact with them, and he said they promised, quote, a good inspection, unquote. And I laughed.
Yeah, words are
We'll
cheap.
see.
Oh, man.
To fix that.
I think we've heard that before, Wes.
Yes, many times.
I'd like to see a director's report one time without the elevator being a topic, because we'll have to celebrate that time. Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the report of the director?
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Wes, okay, all in favor? Aye, thank you. Okay, and we move on to our reports of the committees, which I'm sure will be quick and brief. Wes, anything additional on building and grounds?
No, nothing additional.
Okay. Audubon prints, Rick?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Historic Society, Mr. Pappas?
Yeah, I spoke with Dick St. Pierre this month again, a few minutes. He's doing okay. There may be some changes in who's president planned for this coming year. And also there were some fun facts that came through about the Topsfield Fair. I didn't realize that it was here in Peabody, right in some of your neighborhoods. So really interesting, and I passed that along to everybody. And that is all I have to report from the Historical Society.
Yeah, I appreciated that. That was a fun little tidbit in there. That was great.
Mhm.
I'm just wondering why we couldn't keep it here in Peabody. How neat would that be? We wouldn't have to drive far.
Well, remember the carnival that was over by on Washington? As kids, we used to go to that big carnival every year. That's no longer either. Anyway, thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Don, anything on personnel?
No, nothing more than the director's report.
Okay, Ann, anything foundation on the,
No, there's been nothing, the foundation met. Before the last trustee meeting, there's been nothing since then.
okay, all right, thank you. Okay, great. Do I hear a motion to accept the report of the committees?
Motion to accept.
Tom, thank you.
Second,
Second, Dawn, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. We had decided, as far as unfinished business goes, I know, Ann, you and I emailed, and I don't know if you saw my email back, but we're going to wait to hear back. Kate, you said, I'm sorry, what's his first name again?
Don Khan.
Don. Thank you. And just get back. And so then we can kind of reopen that topic of conversation once we hear back. Is that okay? And then any new business?
Excuse me,
Yes,
what topic of conversation about what?
the Audubon prints, excuse me, about the whole legal issue. So I'd like to just get a little more information when Kate hears back from City Hall. Then we can all kind of have a new discussion about that. Is that okay? All right. We'll just, that way we have one final conversation and have all our facts in place before we continue. And then Ann brought it to my, I did hear, but Ann also brought it to my attention about, as far as moving on to new business, Kathy Walsh's passing. She was a librarian in Peabody. I don't know, I think some of the trustees who have been around knew her, perhaps. I've only met her once or twice myself. I didn't know her well, but she had just recently passed away. And as a former library, I know her husband, I think Ann was a trustee, correct?
yes,
John, you knew him?
yes, Bob, yeah. He passed away. It must be close to 10 years now.
Okay, so I know she was moving. She had been actually my neighbor on Lowell Street, and she recently sold her home and moved in with her son. Her son was building an in-law for her to live in, and then unfortunately, due to complications with her health, she passed away. So I would like to obviously send a card from the Board of Trustees to her family, if that's okay with all of you.
Yes.
Please do.
And of
Sure.
course, if anyone feels like they want to, if they knew her, of course, I would, encourage you to send your own card as someone who knew her. So feel free to do that. But I will put a list of all the trustees. I know we're not together, so it's not like we can sign a card together. So I apologize. I will mention all of our current board members who are currently serving in the sympathy card that we'll send from the trustees.
But can we send a contribution to the charity that had been
Mhm.
indicated in the obit?
It gets a little complicated, Ann, because our budget was taken.
I know.
It was taken away, and I don't know that to personally ask people to do that is, it's a little dicey because the Sunshine Fund, that those aren't formal funds that we run as a formal board. So I think we're going to have to correct, put some ideas forth if you have any, but I feel like if you want to make a personal donation as a former trustee, I don't know what other alternative we have as a board to make a donation, since we don't have access to that kind of funding any longer due to our budget cuts, which is a shame because I think it's a lovely idea and it would be nice to acknowledge her in that way. So at this point, I'm going to send the card for sure. I have to find out her son's address so I can send it to her family. But I know people that know her, so I hopefully will be able to get that without a problem.
Stephanie, would you be good enough to send that out to the trustees when you get that address? Because some of us would like to send.
Absolutely. Yep,
Would you please?
absolutely. I will share that address with all of you and feel free.
I was, perhaps, just to interrupt for a minute, Wes and I, and maybe Rich, I'm thinking were some of the people who knew her. I knew her quite well. We had some common interests, and occasionally I would drop into the West on the pretense of doing my duties. as
Yeah.
a library trustee. Actually, Kathy and I talked music and going to shows in New York. And she was someone that really added an awful lot to the library for the last 20 years, as well as to the rest of the city. All of those Christmas concerts were in a large part her.
Yes.
So we've had a very severe loss, and so suddenly, and
I
just when she had retired. It's so sad.
I feel bad
But,
for her. She was looking forward to moving on and living, with her son. And
mhm.
I met her right before she was putting her house on the market through a common neighbor of ours. She was telling me all about that. And then we got talking about the library. So that's, that was my most recent and only interaction with her. So yeah, I will definitely pass that along to all of you, and whoever feels, that they'd like to send something, please obviously do what makes you comfortable.
And perhaps what, maybe at a later time, when normalcy, in quotes, ever returns,
Hmm.
we might want to think about doing something in the library, whether it be a certain collection or something that could be dedicated to her. That I think the family would like that, because she was well grounded in the library for a long time. And
Right.
I'm sure Martha has a lot of stories. So
Yeah, I'm sure.
thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Well, I think this meeting is kind of short and sweet because I really don't have any new business. A lot hasn't happened. We just met a short time ago in September. So here we are again. So I think until we have some updates from Kate, from the mayor, I mean, we did have a very positive meeting, just to elaborate a little bit on Kate's report. And, he sincerely, of course, doesn't want to see the library become decertified. And if he can work to make that happen, I think he will. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. Of course, I think it's also okay to be in the role of an advocate.
Uh-oh.
Are you gone?
Yes.
I can see you, Wes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Stephanie said
Deanne.
the meeting was going to be short, and I guess she's gone.
Yeah. Stephanie doesn't fool around. When she says it's short, it's short. I think we lost her somehow.
Can somebody text her?
Well,
I'm guessing she'll try to jump back in if she can. Because I'm sure that if we can't see her, she can't see us. So
there she is.
She's
Yes.
back.
I, I don't know what happened. All of you just went away and you got dropped. I apologize. Anyway, the mayor, speaking about the meeting with the mayor, I'm hopeful. And again, as far as being advocates, I think it's okay to express your opinion, whether it be to the mayor or to the city council, just in a good way and in a positive way, that, we're hopeful. And I think a lot of people are very supportive of the library, but it's a silent group out there that really, you don't really hear from. I'm sure, Kate, you hear the most from, of course, but I think it's okay to drop some positive notes of encouragement and hope that we can avoid that decertification, because that would be key for all of us, obviously. But anyway, I think we're going to actually wrap up. This is maybe a record meeting. Oh, yes, go ahead, Ann.
I just wonder, in terms of communicating with our elected officials about the decertification issue,
Yeah.
is there some, or Kate, can you send us some boilerplate that language that we can use to send to our city representatives, something that makes sense, and so that we're not kind of.
Yeah, I think it's more of a casual. I mean, if you want to send something formally, we can obviously, I can draft something, you can all approve it. I'm just talking about more of like in your neighborhood or in your paths that you cross, because I wanted to stay positive. The mayor, in the city council, they still don't have a lot of control of what's going on. And we have to be mindful of that economic situation that we're in currently. It's just not good. So I don't know that we'll I want to do anything too formally. I think it's more just, I'm sure you all see people out in your world and you communicate in your own way to people. So I think it's more, that's the point I'm making.
So I think it's on page 3 of the director's report, something about the safety zone, which is less than 5% greater than the city's total cuts. I think you'll find some figures in there if you want to start somewhere.
Yeah.
But I can send out a basic summary. Again, I have all
Yeah.
this stuff memorized because I dream about this.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, and even last year, Melissa sent us a lot of just basic factual information, but yeah, Kate, you can summarize, if you want to just summarize very simply, just
Absolutely.
where the picture that we're in right now and the possibility, and it would take this to make it happen, just in writing and a quick email, that would be helpful. And then we all have that fact when we are having discussions with even citizens. Like I get asked all the time now, people
Yeah.
randomly will ask me about the library.
Right.
When's it going to open? And oh, we love the services. And what about the branches? So we all get those
Right.
kind of comments.
Right. And
Yeah,
there
what-
are different issues right now, right? There's this bigger picture, longer term certification issue, and there's this shorter term, smaller picture issue of we don't have any staff to add services at the branches.
Right.
And I think it's important to keep both of those in mind and not, lose the forest for the trees, or maybe it's the other way around in this situation.
Yeah.
We really are staff wise, we're really struggling. It's getting to the point where it's tough right now. People are out for normal reasons where they get, they have a cold and they're being extra cautious, or they have a vacation because they're allowed to do that, and they take a day off. But the way our staffing is working out, we're really struggling right now. I mean, Al and myself, as the administrators of the library, we each work a full curbside shift every week, which is nice for morale, but it's honestly like we have to keep the library running, and it's really hard to do that if we're spending a half of a day on curbside. It's tough right now, and all of our senior staff is working basically an entire full day on curbside every week. I mean, everybody is working really hard, and so if people want expanded services from us, and I wish we could give them to them, but we're physically not capable right now. So I think it's important that we focus on the two issues, not just decertification, which makes us lose the bigger things like that $67,000, which basically pays for most of our programming right now, and interlibrary loans, and the ability for our patrons to use any other Noble library, which is going to be dreadful in the spring when that happens. But shorter term, we cannot even offer curbside one day a week at the branches. It's not possible. And that's the service that people want right now.
Right.
And that's a cheap thing. That's like a $38,000 thing, which I mean, to us is a lot of money, but that
Right.
would hire 4 aides, and we could do curbside 5 days a week at the branches. So I think there's things to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Two issues right now.
Through the chair, Kate, could you, I don't think that we should be, as trustees, bringing dollar and cents up to the mayor. That's your role, or perhaps Stephanie, if there's anything like that. But could you, in those notes that you're going to be sending out, just say roughly, in order to continue at a minimal level, we will require, or we would be looking for approximately, and I'm making up this number, 38 to 40% of our established, just so that we have some idea, and also what we're asking for to the mayor.
Sure, absolutely.
Just a ballpark, but just give me some arrows for my quiver.
Sure, happy to do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay. Well, where our next meeting is going to be, oh, actually, our next meeting is going to be November 2nd. It's for the first Monday. We can discuss at the next meeting about if you want to start thinking about, depending on how the numbers go in the city, doing any in-person meetings, the way the city council has been and the school committee has been. We can discuss that. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But at November, we will definitely do virtual, and I'm curious to see how this whole winter is going to be anyway. We have no idea, but anyway, Kate will send everything out for November 2nd. Okay. Yeah, Ann, go ahead.
I didn't get the minutes from last month's meeting. Did I miss something?
No. Kate, we didn't get them, correct?
Correct. Madeline was not able to complete them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll have to see what's going on in that with Madeline. So we'll follow up on that with all of you for sure, okay? Yeah, you didn't miss it. I'm sorry, what was that? Oh, I thought someone said something. Okay, so November 2nd, 7 PM is our next meeting. If Kate, of course, if you get the minutes in the meantime, please forward them. And I guess we'll
Motion
see.
to adjourn.
Second,
Thank you, Don. Rick, can I talk to you after the meeting, Mr. Shuhan, or you can call me on my cell phone, whichever you prefer. Oh, you have to unmute yourself. Rick, unmute yourself.
Sorry. Could you call me because I'm on my new iPad playing with it and I don't have my cell phone with me.
Okay, sure thing. Thank you. All right, folks, have a good week. Everyone stay healthy and safe. Nice to see all of you.
Thank you.
likewise,
Thanks.
you as well. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.